All right, welcome back. This video is intended to show you how to add text to your image through Photoshop on the VMware. So the previous two videos showed you how to get to the VMware in Photoshop and how to get your images that you just took onto the computer virtual desktop so that you could edit them. So here's my image opened in the VMware, and here is my Photoshop toolbar along the side. Now I want to add text to this image, so I'm going to go to this T right here in my left-hand toolbar. So I'm going to click on that T, and usually I get a little spirally thing. So this might not work. There it goes. See how my cursor is different now. I have not used Photoshop very much through this PC-based virtual desktop. So hopefully it all works out the way I want it to. So I've added the text box, or clicked on the text tool, excuse me, in my toolbar. Now up here in my sub menu, I have my font, whether it's regular, bold, or italic, the size of my font. Here I have left, center, right, justify, and here is the color, and I'm going to walk you through all of these. So now that my cursor's changed, I'm just going to click and drag a text box, and this is where you type, which is what I just wrote. Now you can't see a darn thing. Look how little that is. That's because my image is really large and my font is only at 12 points. So it's right there, really teeny tiny. I'm going to highlight that. See that tiny little highlight that just happened? You might have to get really close to your screen. And now I'm going to click up here on this font size, and I'm going to go bigger. I'm going to go 72. And you can even see that's the biggest this little drop-down box window tells me I can go. And you can see 72 is not very large. That's all right. I can go into here. I can highlight 72, and I can make it any size. So I can go 200 point font, and that's because this image is a really large image. Now, your font size on your image might be different because your image might be a bigger or smaller size. Now, if I want to know how big this image is, I can go here where it says View in my top menu, and I can go and choose Rulers. And here's my rulers. So you can see this image is 42 inches wide by like 60, 55 inches tall. So that's a huge image. So obviously a 300 point font would make sense. I'm going to knock that. Well, actually, I'm going to show you what happens. If I go to like 700 points, see how my text disappeared? It's because my text is bigger. If I drag my text box, it's because my text is bigger than my text box, which obviously I don't want. So I'm going to go back up here and go back to 200. And that's not the words I obviously want to type. I found this quote online, and it says let's go back here. Invalid number. All right, Photoshop, giving me hassles. I'm going to highlight that type again, and this is the quote I found. The world is beautiful. And then the rest of it says, what we are doing to it is not. Now, look at me. I already made mistakes in my typing. So I'm going to go back and fix that. I missed the D. The world is beautiful, and I'm going to put a period. Now, what we are doing to it is a totally different, I want that to be a different sentence, and I want it maybe to be in a different place. So I'm going to just leave the world is beautiful there first. Now, I can't see the word because it's the way it's on the background. So I'm going to highlight this again. Did I get my period in there? I did. And right here, where this black box is, I'm going to click on that. And this is where my color picker comes up. And I think I've showed you this, or maybe Miss Dunton showed you this. I can click here, and I can drag this whole thing, and it gives me the rainbow of colors. And I can pick a color. Now, this is my new color, and this is my current color. And then I can pick any color. Everywhere I click, my font is going to change to that color. Now, Photoshop has this cool ability where, watch how my cursor changes. I'm moving it to the left, moving it to the left, moving it to the left. See how it becomes an eyedropper now? So if I want this text to be blue, like the blue of this rubber glove, I can just click in here, and it's going to pick whatever kind of blue color of that pixel. So I'm going to go to some of this brightest blue. All right, it says the world is beautiful. Still can't see it. I'm going to show you a couple tricks that'll help you make your fonts so you can see them. And then I'm going to click OK. Now I can change my font up here where it says Myriad Pro. I can scroll through here and pick any font. Now, if you downloaded a super sweet font for something else, and I haven't been able to show you how to do that, but maybe you take CGA or maybe you just know how, none of those fonts are going to be here. You're pretty stuck to just your classic fonts that come with Photoshop. So I don't know what this font is. It looks like a Halloween font. I don't want to choose that one. I'm just going to grab one that I think you'll be able to see clearly. Not my favorite font, but it's there. Now I'm going to change the size, and maybe I'm going to try like 250 or 280, something like that. And then I'm going to click off of there. Now you can't really see it, and that's not where I want the font to be, the words to be. So if I'm going to go back up here into my toolbar over here on the left, I'm going to go to this first tool, the arrow with the plus sign. That's your move tool. If I click on that move tool, now up here, see where this says show transform controls in the submenu? I want to click that. And forgive me if I say stuff that you guys don't know how to do, because I forget what you learned from me and what you learned from Miss Dunton. So now that show transform controls, you can see there's this box around it. And now I can move this wherever I want it. So I maybe want this to be here, kind of in the dirt. And now I'm realizing you can't really see it when it's that color. So maybe I want to change that color again. I'm going to go back over here to the text tool. My cursor changes again. I'm going to make sure I highlight. Oh no, it didn't highlight, and now nothing is happening. So look over here on the right where your layers are. Instead of highlighting, I added a new layer. Right here it says layer. And now it made a new text layer. I don't want that. I want this the world is beautiful layer. So if I click here, I'm going to control click that. Oh, no, that only works on a Mac. I'm going to delete that. That worked. Sometimes you can control click, but we're on a PC now, and that's what's tricky is we're now using Photoshop on a PC. So I'm going to try this again and see how my cursor changed. My cursor now looks like a box, and if I click, it's going to add a new layer. But watch as I move closer, my cursor now changed. So now if I highlight it, it should, instead of adding a new layer, it's highlighting it. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm maybe just going to pick a lighter blue, easier to see. Still not perfect, but better. And if I want to move it again, click on my move tool and I can move it around. Now, I want to add the part of the quote that says, what we are doing to it is not. And instead of going back and picking that color again and that font again and all that stuff all over again, I can easily duplicate this layer. Now, the trick will be for me to remember how, if I can do this. Nope, I might not be able to do it the shortcut way because I'm on a PC and not on a Mac. So I'm going to go up here to, let me see, layer. There we go. This is different than on my computer. And I'm going to duplicate the layer. So all the fun shortcuts that I know aren't going to work here. So I'm going to duplicate the layer, click OK. And now you see over here in my layers, I have 2 layers. But if I look here, it looks like there's just one. If I go back to my move tool, it gives me this other layer. So now I can switch back to my text tool, wait till that cursor changes, highlight it, and then I can type the rest of my quote. What we are doing to it is not. Now, that doesn't fit all the way across. Maybe I want to do like this. Maybe I want to make not all capital letters. I might have to change the color or the placement of it again. Actually, I think what I want to do, I'm going to select my text tool again. I'm going to highlight that. And up in my submenu, I think I want to right justify it. Now, moved wonky, don't worry. Switch to your move tool. And I'm going to put this over here. If I want to go and move that other one, I can switch on the right-hand side. I'm going to click on the layer, so see how it's a different color. And then I'm going to go over here, and maybe I want to move this. So again, if I want to change the font, I go to my text tool, I highlight, did it again, added a new layer, just hit delete and get rid of that. Wait till your cursor changes, highlight it again. Over here, I can change my font. I can change my size. Remember, you can type any number. I can change my center, right, left justification, and I can change my color. Now, if you really want to get fun, there's this T on a hill. You can click that and you can warp your text. So let's say I want it to curve. I can click on that and it can curve, and then you can change the amount of the bend. You can do whatever. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to cancel that out of there. All right, so let's say this is where I want all of my fonts. I have my this is the fonts I want, the placement and all that stuff. Now, I don't love this. I just don't want to bore you guys with watching me spend 20 minutes choosing fonts and all that jazz. You can add a website. You can add anything like that, a call to action. Remember the presentation. And remember, you can change the color, not the color, excuse me. You can change certain words to be different sizes and colors. The trick is, like, if I'm in this layer, I don't think I can change just one word to be a different color. Maybe I can. I'm going to try that. Say I want to change world to be green. Let's see if that works. I'm going to go in here, pick a green. Yep. So I can change just one word to be a different color if I want to. So I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to do that. So once you have your fonts picked, you have, your placement, whatever. The last cool trick I will show you is if you're over here, hopefully this works on this PC. If I'm on this World is Beautiful layer over here on the right, and I double click, I get this window, excuse me, that comes up that's called Layer Style. I'm going to move that window out of the way. And here I can add these fun effects. So maybe I want an outer glow, because see how some of my words kind of blend in? I'm going to click on this word, outer glow, and then notice these settings change. If you click on just the checkbox, the settings don't change. You have to actually, if I just click color overlay, it changes, but I don't get any way to fix the changes. So if you click on the actual word, I always switch my blending mode to normal, and then you can try stuff out from there. So basically, this put kind of a glow around it. I can make it more or less opaque, more or less noisy, which that means like the pixels that are there. I can change the color. Maybe I want the outer glow to be like a dark blue, and I can click OK. You can change it to softer or more precise, and this is the one I like. You can change it so that it's bigger. So see how it's like making this kind of glow around it? You can have some fun effects. Now the trick is, whatever I just did to this layer, I want to probably, maybe, depending on what you're doing, but for me, I want to do the same thing to this layer. So what I would do in here is I would go and remember or write down that I changed to 35 to 6. If you click on this color, you'll notice down here, each color has its own number. So I could copy and paste or type that number in and always get that same number. And I can just, any measure or any numbers or anything I changed, I can do that way. So I'm going to close that. Let's pretend I'm done, even though I'm not. I've added my text to my image. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do a file, save as. And no worries, I always tell you not to save on the desktop at school, but you're going to save on the desktop here. I'm going to change the title of this to social messages. And notice it's a Photoshop file. That's fine. I'm going to save it on the desktop as a Photoshop file. And then click OK in that formatting. And just like we would do at school, I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'm going to click this drop down, and I want you to save it as a JPEG. You're not going to be able to upload that Photoshop file the way you need to. And then we're going to click save again, and then you get this JPEG options thing. You can just click OK through that. Now, if I minimize over in the right, top right, minimize Photoshop, here on my desktop, I have my social messages JPEG. and I have my social messages Photoshop. Now, if I log out of VMware and in 2 days I come back, I log back into VMware, these 5 files should still be here. Now, here's the tricky part. I edited this image. Now I have to get it into Google. So I'm going to go back to my Google Chrome. This is my social messages folder, and I'm going to do new file upload, and I'm going to click on the desktop, and I'm going to choose that social messages JPEG, and I'm going to add that into my Google Drive. Now I have access to it on my home computer, from my phone, blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to have a template. It's going to look like this. I'm just going to run through here. You're going to have this template, each of you in Google Classroom. You're going to do your sketchbook. I already walked you through this. Your sketchbook part 1, your sketchbook part 2, your sketchbook part 3. Now you could do this right now if you wanted to without having to go back out of VMware. And here's your final social messages. You're going to go insert, and you can upload it from the computer, or you can get it from Google Drive. Since I'm here, I may as well do it. And then here is my social messages project, blah, blah, blah. And then remember, you'll close this and go to the assignment post, and you'll click that hand in button. If you don't know how to do that, watch the video I posted where it says help submitting through Google Classroom is hard. Now I'm going to delete that out of there because I don't want to save my image to your files. So that's how you're going to edit your image in Photoshop to get your text on it through the virtual desktop VMware, and how you're going to get your image back to me. Hopefully this was a successful video for you. Pause it and rewind it if you have to. Go back and catch